Well, um, do we have to say anything official, Jim, to open this meeting up like it's 10:06 and we're starting the meeting on 8:27? I will
No, I think if if Betty just wants to uh, call the meeting to order is enough, or
is
just get
enough.
us started. Yeah.
Okay.
Hopefully Betty can still hear us.
I don't know. She may be having audio. Well, no, because we just heard her. Well, she'll join us in a minute. Well, just to well, I kind of wanted to start out with for as far as the we can start out with just some old business, old news, which we really don't have as much. We sort of went over the award of excellence in our last
Candace,
meeting.
sorry to
Oh,
interrupt. Betty has her
Betty's
hand raised. I don't.
did she say something in the chat? Uh-oh. Miss Betty, if
Yeah.
you're talking, we can't hear you. I don't know. Any suggestions from the smart people in the group? I can type in the chat, Betty. Maybe she left us. It's like maybe
Looks like
join.
she dropped. Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
she's going to try and rejoin.
Well, sorry for the brief delay, you guys. I want to give Miss Betty a minute to sort of figure it out. I can give her a call in just a second.
Looks
I'll
like
go ahead
Greg's
and
coming in.
Greg here. Hey, Greg, how are you today? Look at this guy here, living the retired life. Hey, Greg. Like you are about to hit the airways. Are you are you flying somewhere? Oh, you're muted.
Oh, I had to bring a friend to Nashville to the hospital, so I'm in the waiting room.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. And here I am just making jokes about you
Oh,
looking
you're
like you're flying to
fine.
California. I'm sorry. I'm
I
sorry to hear that.
wish. I wish.
Um,
No, you're fine. I was just for a minor procedure, so
okay.
I was just his driver today.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Well, not sure what's going on with Miss Betty. Um, Jim, do you want me to reach out to her? Or do you want to reach out to her and see, or what would be the best way to kind of move forward?
Yeah, I could. What I can do is let me pull up the meeting information, and I'll text her the phone number. I'll text her the phone number and the login
So she can
information
dial in.
so that she can maybe dial in. Um,
Okay. Well, all right. Well, while he's doing that, like I said, I'll just go ahead and just pick up slowly with sort of old business, and then we'll um, end the call out with maybe any updates that Miss Betty wants to throw in, but really focusing on where we are as far as our action plan, because we do have the retreat coming up in October. So just figuring out what that looks like, the things we need to work on while we're in the committee meetings. I, as I mentioned before, Anthony will be helping with the Award of Excellence and Foundations of Service for this year, and then we'll sort of transition him into being your support role for staff. But he's here today because I won't be at the retreat this time around in October. I was telling Jim, y'all love to party with me because last year was on my birthday and this year it's on my birthday again. But so unfortunately, I will not be available, and Miss Betty will also not be at the retreat meeting. So just wanting to make sure that
And
we
neither
have a
will
solid.
I, Candace.
Oh no, Greg.
I will not be
Now
there either. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's I work the polls doing early voting, and so I
that's
think
right.
I'll be working.
Working the election polls. All right.
Uh-huh.
Um, do we need to kind of maybe take an unofficial roll call? I'm sure that Jessica will likely be there. Will you, Destiny, or Amy be present at the retreat in October
I'll be there
If I recall,
virtually.
virtually? Was that
if
Amy?
I,
Amy L.
Okay, Amy L virtual. And what about you, Destiny?
if I recall correctly, I will end up, because we switched dates, having to be there virtually as well.
Virtually too. Okay. Um, I will do some assessing to see about our representation that will actually be there at the meeting. But we're a good group and we can definitely get some things. Oh, here's Miss Betty here.
She's muted.
Hey there. You're muted, Miss Betty. If you can hear us, you're
I'm
muted.
on
Okay.
my phone, so whatever. Yeah.
All right. Well, we get to see
Sorry.
your lovely face. No. You're fine. Um, we're kind of waiting on you with the slow start a little bit, but we just kind of dove into our attendance. Where we are right now is just the attendance of the retreat that's coming up. Just to sort of get a solid plan of action of the retreat, the things that we want to make sure that we are going over. I have the action plan pulled up and I'll share my screen and that's in just a minute. But like I was telling them that I won't be at the retreat for this time around, but that's okay. Anthony will be there. It's on my birthday again this year, but that's okay. It's quite all right. I'll send you guys lovely photos of how I'm doing on my 40th. But Anthony, who I think that you guys have had the pleasure of meeting outside of today virtually, will be here as my proxy, so to speak, just to make sure that we have that you guys still have staff now and also moving forward with Award of Excellence and other goals that we kind of come across. So Greg will not be able to join, but Amy and Destiny will both be there virtually, Miss Betty. So that's just kind of where we are with things. Did you have
Okay, but
any old news? And you won't be there either.
but I will not be there. Yeah, I had a trip scheduled for that week.
No, it's okay. It's okay. It was an adjustment on schedule, so it's quite all right. That's why I wanted to make sure that everybody knew before we went in, because we normally have such strong presence and everybody being present. So I'll reach out and I'll get with Jim on those that will be there, for those who are not here, just to make sure that we know and we're transparent about the agenda of the things that we want to get done. But before we move into this action plan, like I said, I just wanted to circle back. If there's any old news or old business, thank you guys for getting us the Champions of Service. We've had a couple of good ones that Hope has been able to put out. So that is going rather successfully. The Award of Excellence, as I said, we kind of talked about it at the last meeting, that the application worked well. The schools were excited. The scoring worked well. So if there is not anything to double back on Award of Excellence, if anybody has any open comments, we can go ahead and just sort of talk about it here. But if not, Ms. Betty, if you don't have anything specific, and Jim, if you don't have any specific updates, we can go ahead and move into our action plan so that we kind of know what the retreat looks like for the Foundations of Service. So did anybody have any just open comments about Award of Excellence or the last commission meeting or the our last committee meeting that you guys just kind of want to throw out there? Any follow-up questions from anyone?
My question about the Award of Excellence is, are there other ways that we are going to try to get that out? In addition to having it on the website, I agree with everything you've said, Candace. I think we're in good shape with it. We finally got something that I think works right after working on it for all these years. But is there a way that we can more actively try to get that out to schools?
Well, I'm going to have it on social media in a rotation starting next week.
Okay.
Candace and I talked about promoting it heavily on our socials, particularly for September and October. That way they have plenty of time to get, and we'll mention it in November as well, but I believe the deadline is the middle of
15th.
November. Okay.
Yep,
So yeah,
November
we were going
15th.
to promote it heavily for September and October on the socials as well.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Hope. I want to go ahead
I
and
think
switch
that's
over
the
to.
best way to do it. I think that's the best way to do it these days because social media seems to gain the most attention. Thank you, Hope. Go ahead, Candace.
Amy? Well, no, I was going to grab Amy's hand. She had her hand raised. Go ahead, Amy.
Last
Amy Yale.
year, yeah, last year, our department included it in our newsletter blast. So we do have a newsletter that goes out every week to directors of schools. And so if we just get that language again, I could send that to our comms team and then make sure that that's in our rotation for our newsletter.
Perfect. Go ahead, Hope.
Amy, would it be helpful if I sent you the artwork that I did on Canva that we're going to put in the socials for it?
Yes, that would be great.
Okay.
So language and graphics. And would it just be helpful if Hope and I just send it to the whole Foundations of Service group?
Yes. Thank
All right.
you.
So you're welcome. So I'll also resend we'll send a couple of things. It'll be 2 emails. I'll send out with Hope just the basic language and the graphics that we already have, just with the links that are online for Award of Excellence for you guys to distribute. And let us know the groups that you're distributing it to so that we can make sure that we effectively get it out to everyone. And then also I will re-forward the newsletter that Hope has sent out that just has all of the other general information about the conference, just so you guys can know where we are as far as right now. But thank you, Amy. I appreciate it. And if, like I said, if you guys are thinking about, next week and you're like, I know that's a great place to send it over to, just let us know so that we can keep a tally of all the places that we are reaching out to, so that when they reach back with questions, we kind of know the way they got it. Anybody else with anything about Award of Excellence? I know that Miss Betty and I briefly discussed, partly it's briefly because of me, but just trying to, like last year, we sort of ran into a little issue with ordering our award from China, and we kind of got in a pickle, a conundrum, because it was the Chinese New Year, and we kind of had to rush to get it to us. So I know that Miss Betty, that we were discussing someone that would be more local, that would be able to get it together. So I will follow up with Miss Betty about if that's to see if that's an option. But if you guys think it's a great idea, then we can look for it. Or I don't want to speak for Miss Betty, so let me stop right there. But I did know that it was a area of concern that we didn't want to run into again this year. So I moved the date up to 11/15 just to make sure that we have enough time to do things. But I did want to put it out there that Miss Betty thought that it'd mean more, and it'd be a better presentation for somebody who is local, that can not only do it and get us squared away and together, but us not running into Chinese New Year and throwing back our mailing for 2-3 weeks. So Miss Betty, that was just an update. Yeah.
Yeah, my primary concern is not that it was Chinese New Year, whatever. My concern is that if we can have something created like that, what we want locally, I really believe that we should have it created in Tennessee. And that's just what I have proposed. I would love to hear what other people think. I do believe that I know people locally in this community who can do that because we have master seamstresses, and so I could do that if you all would like me to pursue it.
Any thoughts against that thought? Because the company that I went through was local, but their ordering was in China. So if nobody has any objections, then we can look into that Tennessee person. And again, if all else fails, then we can definitely continue with where we are. But we're just trying to make it a little bit more local, a little bit more meaningful, and sort of avoid that time of Chinese New Year. So if nobody has any objections, then we can move on to any other open questions or follow-up before we get into the action plan. Okay, Amy or Jim? Nothing? Okay. All right. I will update this as much as I can while we are actually talking about it. So I am going to go on mute a lot just so, I can actually type and listen to you guys a little bit, but just kind of to get us caught up. We've had our commission meeting. We've reviewed the AOE application. We've reviewed the process and system outcomes. All right. We've sent out the Award of Excellent announcement for submission, and we already have our scoring together. Our date will be 11/15 that we shut it down so that we can have a little bit more time to discuss and get things off. That'll give us until February 15th, which gives us a lot of time to identify the winner, send the information out to the winners, and have time to actually get their names and everything embroidered on the award. Oh, hold on. Let me let Kane in. Hey, good morning, Kane. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good. How about you?
I think I can speak for everybody when I'm saying we're doing well and enjoying the sunshine on this Taco Tuesday. So
All right.
thank you.
I love it.
Thank you for coming. You've missed all the boring old business talk. So right now we are just sort of outlining what our next, really kind of probably the remainder of the year looks like for Foundations of Service for our action plan, as well as our goals for the retreat that's coming up in October. I won't be there. Miss Betty won't. Greg won't be there. Are you going to be there?
I think, Jim, did I respond and say that I wasn't sure, or?
I don't remember right offhand, but I can look.
I think I will be out of town. That is
We are really
Yeah.
close to either right at quorum, so we won't be able to vote on anything. I'm hoping as many people can participate as can, but we'll just see.
Yeah. Kane, I don't think that we got the response from the survey. Let me just double check though.
October 17th through the 18th.
Yeah, no, we didn't get a response, and we haven't. The board development committee actually met last week and talked about where, and they decided they want to try Clarksville. So it'll be kind of the general Middle Tennessee area, but not Nashville.
Yeah, I'll be in Boise for a meeting for work that whole week actually, so I won't be there.
Okay.
No.
Thank you for your update, Kane. Okay, so we'll figure out our presence. Right now, we have a strong virtual presence, but we'll figure out our in-person and everything moving forward. Okay, So where we are right now, like as I said, we reviewed all submission scores. We'll be able to identify our awardees a month later from 11:15 to 12:15. And I should be able to notify all of our awardees by 12:15 before they go out for their holiday break. I think a month is plenty of time for us to review everything and get our language together and send off everything. And like I said, that still gives us a solid 2 months between notifying and the actual awards of the actual conference. So here is where we are for new things. All right. So do you guys, so just sort of looking at the SG3 guidelines, the SG4, all the way down here, I will, okay. Oh, here's one. So I wanted to know what you guys thought of the service project that me and Miss Betty worked hard on last year. If you guys enjoyed it, then I am happy to reach back out to the well to see if they'd be interested in partnering with us again with Miss Betty's blessing. But I wanted to see how you guys felt about a service project moving forward for this conference.
I think everybody liked it. That was to me fun.
Okay. Amy and Betty, you guys kind of have the final vote. How, not you guys have the final vote, but how do you guys feel about the service project that we did last year, and if it's something worth revisiting again for February?
Which Amy?
I told y'all, just forgive me in advance. I told you. And every Amy is important, Amy L. But Amy W. Y'all need some nicknames. Amy W. I'm gonna figure out some nicknames. But Miss Betty, was there any feedback that we should be aware of that came from the well or the Nashville diapers that we should be aware of?
Well, I would like to know, first of all, if there's anyone on the committee that thinks we should not pursue this again, because if there's someone who feels we shouldn't, then I would like to address that. The feedback from the well was overwhelmingly positive, and I would say that I would personally, well, let me find out if there are objections first, and then I will tell you what I think. Because I'm really good at giving my opinion.
Any objections from the crew?
Or questions or concerns, whatever.
I'm going to take that as overwhelming support for the service project. All right.
Well, the reason I would like to continue it is that you may or may not be aware, but the well is expanding exponentially in this area. But recently, after the conference last year in March, they actually opened a second warehouse in Mount Pleasant, which is one of the counties, or it's in the county that is one of the greatest needs in our state. It is, listed as one of those places. And I think the information that I have received back from Shelley and John, and it's been a few months, but was overwhelmingly positive. They would love for us to continue and to partner with them. And I think they can especially use our support because of opening this new warehouse. We do have some people here in Spring Hill who are actually going to Mount Pleasant and working in that warehouse to get them started, volunteering, doing that. Personally, I have to confess, I have not been to that one yet, but I will go. But I just strongly endorse what they're doing and how they're trying to reach out through the warehouse, the jetpacks, the mobile community, and the partnership with the Diaper Connection, which was a new one. We were the first people they partnered with when they did that in February with us.
All right. Thank you, Miss Betty. And again, if no one is objecting, then I would love you guys. It's a blessing to work with Miss Betty again on securing the well and, maybe Nashville Diaper Connection again, maybe not, but I would have to update you guys on what that conversation looked like after. Okay, hearts from Amy, thanks. Okay, so claps from Hope, yay. All right, smiles from Amy, W. So, and Kane, your opinion is always wanted, but I just want to make sure, because your 4-Hers are awesome and they're just so awesome with me every year. And I think that this one actually was impactful for them with this experience. So if they were okay with it, that means we have everybody covered. And just the process that we had, your volunteers were able to, they didn't have any conflict or any issues with helping with this, did they? Okay. So I will, Miss Betty, before the week is over, or maybe right after Labor Day, I'll reach out to, I'll include you in an email and reach out to Sage and try to get some time on the books where we can chat in the month of September so we can have a direction for the retreat in October. Okay, sounds good. All right.
Thank you. Sounds good.
Okay. And so these others, we can definitely go through today, but these are also areas that we can talk about at the retreat. But if you guys have any type of workshops that you think would be great as far as service learning, then we could definitely talk about that. Any plenary speakers that you guys know that's related to DEI. I'm going to meet with Don, our disaster services manager, to see about sessions on emergency preparedness. So I'll take the lead on that one, but kind of open to any ideas that you guys have for any service learning workshops, or anything that is from S1 to S6. Or how you guys would like to move forward with planning for these things that's on here for the retreat, if that makes sense.
One thing I really liked last year is that we made a deliberate goal and followed through with that to include the Volunteer Tennessee priorities in the conference. And I would like to see us continue. It sounds the same way, Candace, what you're speaking of sounds like we're doing that again. But I would just like to wholeheartedly recommend we continue going down that path.
Okay, well, I agree. So our service project is on food security. So I think that's great. So our other pillars, I might forget some, but our other pillars with DEI, workforce development, I think is one area that we definitely could probably use a little bit of extra support around, being that I'm not really sure what that would look like as far as workforce development, other than just the workshops that we have. And our DEI are probably areas that we could focus a little bit more on in emergency preparedness for this year. So if you guys have any ideas on a plenary speaker, I'm happy to accept it now to reach out to it, or any ideas that are here, I'm happy to go ahead and get it started so that we can sort of know what that looks like for the retreat.
Hey, Candace, I know that maybe this may not benefit everybody, but I thought about, and we may have done this in the past, you may know, but or you, but what about having like some AmeriCorps folks talk about how to get involved with AmeriCorps, like have a session specifically on that. Because like I know what it is and I know what we do, but I don't think I've ever known like go to this website and sign up, or here's how I got involved. I just reached out to this person, or I think that'll be cool for the kids to know, and also it's a promotion for AmeriCorps, and maybe have somebody there that has went through the was it Teach for America deal, so that way they know that just because you picked this career doesn't mean you could never go back into education through this way. I don't know. I was just thinking that might be cool to know.
No, I think you're absolutely right. I think that we assume that everybody knows what AmeriCorps is and how to do it. And we reach out to nonprofits about that, but maybe not so much of the participants that are there. So I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, Kane,
thank you, Kane.
I agree. I think that's a really good idea. We have in the past had there's a specific type of AmeriCorps called NCCC, the National Civilian Community Corps. And they have from time to time done presentations about the National Civilian Community Corps, but it's more specifically on how nonprofits can utilize that particular stream of service, but not, I mean, they may talk a little bit about how people can become members, but I think that's a really good idea. And we should absolutely do that, and just have a general session, and we can look for we can look for folks who have been members who can maybe co-present that and have a couple different people from different programs, because we will have or we should, I mean, we always do have at least a couple members from different programs from across the state, and we maybe can tap some of them to come in, or some alumni who are doing other things that could come in and do that.
Duly noted, gentlemen. I think that's a great panel discussion. Thank you both. Okay. So before we
No,
jump down,
I think it's a great idea too. And we had some people speak, I think, at a couple of our board members here and there who were dynamic speakers, AmeriCorps speakers, and gave insights into things of, you know, a career beyond AmeriCorps and how they had gained training. I remember the one guy from Oak Ridge but anyway, we've got some people out there who would be wonderful. And I know there are a lot more that I don't even know about.
Hey, this is Destiny. Voting up for Canes, I think it'd be great too if we can get someone that's closer to the student's age so they can also see themselves in those positions. So like if we can bring some college students in who do these roles and tell about their experience, specifically like what it's like to be, like what led them there. I know they may not be in college yet, but they're going to be getting to college.
I'm writing, looking, and typing all at the same time. So thank you, Destiny. I appreciate that, and I'm pretty sure that we can find some that are definitely closer, even staff. We have some that are definitely much younger than me, but I think that is a great addition to that for that panel discussion. Thank you. Any thoughts about somebody from DEI? Do you guys have any DEI persons that are good that could come and speak as a plenary?
Yeah, I know somebody, and Destiny may know him too, but Craig Pickett, Dr. Craig Pickett, he works for UT. I think he works in the, he was in the Institute of Agriculture for UT, but he moved positions, and I want to say he works in medical or something like the UT medical or something like that, but I could definitely ask him if you want me to.
I would. And if he has any, like a short bio, we could look over as well. Not to say that I need to vet him, but just so we know who it is that we are bringing in, and that way we already have it, and we have a promotional, like a headshot and a short bio. If he's available, that's always the thing, is if he's available on the date.
What date?
If he's available, it'll be February 17th and 18th.
He needs to be there both days, the 17th.
Yeah, those are the days of the conference, but Monday the 17th, February 17th.
Okay. Yeah, if you do a quick Google search, you can look him up. But yeah,
okay.
he works for UT Medical Center now, but he was our diversity, equity, inclusion person. He's the same thing. He's a director over there for the same thing.
Okay. He's a pretty good speaker.
Very good. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. If you don't mind, Kane, I will let me know what you need from me, but can I put this as a target date for you, for us here by October 1st?
Yeah, I'll email us, put you in an email with me and Craig.
Okay, awesome. The sooner the
Okay.
better. So if he doesn't work out, we can send it out to the group of, maybe we need someone else. But yeah, if we could, then that'd be great. Because if not, then we have the time at the retreat to really just sort of figure out what that looks like from
Okay.
everyone. So just planting the seed. We'll reach out to Craig. Does anybody else have any? Because I don't want to put all the eggs in one basket. Does anybody else know any good plenary speaker that could be related to DEI?
Hey,
Candace,
Candace, this is
there's
Destiny
a
again.
lady. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Let's Destiny, go ahead. Ladies first, and then Greg, if you don't mind, we'll come back around to you. Go ahead, Destiny.
Well, I was just gonna say, if this is me again, sorry. If it's needed, I am certified and trained to do it. So if we need an opportunity, like if the people you're trying to reach is not available, obviously I'll be there. But let me know.
Ooh. That actually makes me really excited. I don't know if that's Destiny, you just are a lady of many talents. So I will definitely keep that in mind. I would love to have you as a plenary speaker. I think you'd be dynamic. Just honestly, if I could just toot your horn a little bit. But we'll see. And that's definitely a great something great to know. So that's so awesome. Thank you so much for offering. Don't want to forget Greg. Greg, you still there?
No, that's okay. Since Destiny can do that, I was just going to suggest a professor from MTSU that did work with us in our district. But hey, we can put that on the back burner since we've got Destiny. So as the backup.
I think that well, let's see where Kane rolls out. And if Kane can let us know something here in the next couple of weeks, Greg, we can look into your guy at MTSU. But if we're just sort of like we don't really know anything by October 1st,
right.
Destiny, I think that'll be a great time for us to let you know what that looks like.
All right. Sounds
so
good
we
to
should
me.
Okay, perfect. So Destiny, we should definitely know something for you by the retreat. And that'll hopefully give you plenty of time to know and to do. But I will research and try to find someone. I want you to do it, but I won't rely on you to do it. So we can. But Miss Betty said maybe you can do it. I appreciate that. Miss Betty said that you should do a workshop anyway. just go ahead and come on and do a workshop, which I am not too proud to beg. So just let me know. We'll circle back around after October, and we'll definitely have that verified. Okay. So I'm going to reach out to Don for emergency preparedness. I have actually been attending a session of his that he's had in Memphis, just with emergency preparedness and CERT. And it was such a treat to watch Don in his element in giving sessions. So I'm going to talk to him about what a session on emergency preparedness looks like. That was going to be my backup if the service, if the well was met with some kind of resistance. But I'll talk to him on sessions. It won't be on the grandeur of a plenary, but I'll definitely talk to him on emergency sessions and see what type of traction we can get to have emergency preparedness workshops at this conference. And the panel about the showcase of AmeriCorps project sort of works in there quite well. And we definitely have our sponsorship packet available for everyone. I will send that out as well. All right. We have 15 minutes. So any other lasting thoughts about the conference? If not, then we can go ahead and move on to this last little bit of the Excel spreadsheet. And then we can wrap it up with a couple of goals for the retreat. So any other feedback for the conference? Okay, moving right along. Create a communication plan about the Award of Excellence and the Volunteer Tendency Conference. The plan may include the newsletter or the website. And that is a collaboration with us, the communications, as well as the strategic partnership committee. Would you guys like to tackle this now, or would you like for this to be a line item while we're at the retreat, while the other groups are there? On how that communication plan looks like for getting out Award of Excellence and the conference with the remainder of the committee members.
What's the specific ask? I'm sorry.
So what's on here is to create a communications plan about the Award of Excellence as well as the Volunteer Tendency Conference. So I guess my ask is this communication plan something you guys want to dive into right now, or should this be a line item for the retreat so that the communication plan can be completed at the retreat while we have the other committees there? Because this is a collaboration. No, go ahead.
I think it'd be a good idea to take some time right now to discuss if we need to create a template, what should be included in there. So when we get to the retreat, we can just put the information in and we can focus on what should be in that template and not the development of the template.
All right, any thoughts on what Destiny just said? Any ideas on what that communication plan looks like or what that template looks like?
High level is obviously a timeline, the action steps, who is going to be assigned those action steps. What also should be included in there is like if there needs to be a draft statement of what, so like details of what, if it's a caption, what should the caption be included in there? 5 bullet points, you know, we want you to cover the date, the demographic we're appealing to, anything like that should also be included in that template.
Is Hope on the call? Hope may have some things in her plan.
Yes, I am on the call. I just turned my camera off because my computer was getting kind of glitchy with the camera on. I have it already in consideration in our overall marketing plan. And it already includes, we've already sent out a special newsletter. We will include it in all of our newsletters between here and there. We are going to have social media for both AOE and the conference. Part of it's going to include promoting, we've already are starting to promote for the conference website. I mean, not website, workshop applications. After that, we're going to be promoting registration pretty heavily. And once we get a little further down, once the speakers are done, we'll do what we did last year and promote all the speakers, trying to get people to sign up for the conference. What questions do you have?
I think
I just have it as part of my overall marketing stuff. I didn't have it don't have those broken out separately, but I can do that if that's what you'd like.
I think just to keep this meeting moving and not just stall in a gray area, Hope, let's just send out, let's get together and send out just a blank, I don't want to say a blank template, but a fillable template, like of the things that Destiny just sort of stated, like the high level reasoning for it, any action steps, captions, hashtags, things that we can send over with the language, demographics, target audience that we're really wanting to, that we're wanting to hit. And we can just have that blanket thing, and we can send it around to everybody to put their thoughts up under what that looks like for the things that we're already doing. So that way, as Destiny said, when you guys, so I won't be there sadly, get to the meeting, we kind of already have that. And I'll include Anthony so that we can make sure that that's sort of being completed so that we can give it to the other committees. So especially strategic partnerships and how they can help us get the word out about the conference and other identifiable areas that we can get the communication out to.
Okay.
Thanks. Sounds good. Thank you, Amy L., for mentioning the Department of Education, but I think also it might be a great time to talk about these other things, the increase of knowledge in public government and practitioners of what service learning is, who that looks like, what that's outlined to. This last thing is to create increased communication to the general public around service learning, and that might be training, webinars, highlight service, learning, communication. I think that all of these are great. We don't have enough time to go into detail about them now, but I think that that would be a great area for you guys to kind of focus on at the retreat to figure out what it is that looks like moving forward for the rest of this fiscal year, because I think all of these are things that are outside the conference. So if it's okay with everybody, our 5, 6, and 7 are areas that can be discussed during the retreat so that we have a full action plan by the time October 18th is ready. And we kind of know what we're doing, what's ongoing, and what we need for the retreat. So I can put this together in a couple of things. The email might be a little lengthy, but just so we know what we're focusing on for the retreat, how that looks for us for the remainder of this year with the conference and the remaining of the actual fiscal year for the remaining line items that we have. So before we sort of jump off, I have my to-do list of follow-up things that I'm going to send to you guys. But is there anything else that we are forgetting as far as the foundations of service? Are there any questions, any follow-up about what the retreat, what our action plan action items are for the retreat, which in this case is 5, 6, and 7? And are there any questions about anything that we've discussed today? The conference, DEI, our action items for the retreat, DEI. Are there any questions or any follow-up about the retreat? All right. So Betty,
Wait,
Miss Betty,
I'm
do you have
sorry.
anything? No, go ahead.
Well, yeah, and I'm jumping back just a little bit, but my concern is the participation or lack thereof of students in the conference. And if we jump back on the action plan to 4 and we look over at, 4, wherever, outputs, one of our goals was our outputs is that more students will attend the conference. However, in order to have that happen, I think past experience has shown us that we have to have funding. And I just don't know if there is a way that we can get more funding. I mean, when State Farm did the $40,000 scholarship package, that was easy to say, okay, if you're a student and you apply here, you can come free. And even though people might have to provide a transportation and lodging, we had a strong participation. I don't know. I mean, I know State Farm isn't doing that now. So that's my concern is that is there any way to look for funding for students?
Anybody have any, anybody have any thoughts on that? Because I completely agree with Miss Betty. It's hard to advertise to get students there, especially that's outside of the Middle Tennessee area, to come, just considering their price of admission, lodging, and hold on. price of admission, lodging, transportation are all things that we have to consider. So are all things that we have to consider. So go ahead, Jim.
Well, just to throw in, I mean, I think it's a really good discussion, and it's probably something to discuss at a little bit more at the retreat with the full commission, because I think it certainly needs the engagement of the Strategic Partnerships Committee, because they're not really a fundraising committee, but they do kind of look for opportunities for fundraising and partnerships and that kind of thing. So certainly to involve them. I know a lot of people aren't going to be able to be at the retreat. So maybe there needs to be a joint committee meeting with this committee and the foundation or the Strategic Partnerships Committee to have a cross-committee discussion about sponsorships, because Betty, you're right. The loss of the State Farm sponsorship was significant in the fact that, you know, we just don't have that ability to offer students to come for free anymore. And we haven't really found a good replacement. And we did have some smaller sponsorships this past year, but not something that could completely take the place of what we were getting from State Farm. But it would require effort on the part of the commission members to go out and find people who are, you know, companies, individuals, whatever, to come in and sponsor. And I think it's a really good pitch to say, you know, your sponsorship specifically will fund X number of students to be able to attend the conference, as opposed to just saying generally, you know, give us money to sponsor the conference and we'll just use it for general purposes.
I guess we need to figure out who's actually going to. Well, how would you guys like to handle that as we're going out? I think that's a great way to figure it out. Is this just a discussion that that we're going to have at the retreat? Is it okay, Amy, if we have a couple of minutes on the agenda, Amy W, on the agenda to talk about sponsorships of the, or however it goes? I don't know what's the best place to, when or where is the best place to have this conversation with the committee members?
I think it's a great idea. And Jim, let's build that into the agenda.
Yeah, sure. We can. I mean, there's certainly. I mean, we're already going to have kind of cross committee discussions, and this is a really good discussion to have. I think that this committee still might want to have a joint meeting with the Strategic Partnerships Committee to talk maybe a little bit more about strategy and how to go about it. Because again, there's so many people from this committee that aren't going to be able to be at the retreat. So, you know, I think it would be helpful to have that cross-committee discussion either before the retreat or after the retreat in terms of how to implement discussions that come from the retreat, or to plan out how to present the information to the full commission at the retreat.
And a question I have, and maybe this is already answered somewhere, so please forgive me, Candace, forgive me if it is, but could we create a special sponsorship that is specifically intended to pay for a student to attend the conference? Or do we already have that?
We don't have that specific sponsorship. I mean, we've got some general sponsorship levels, but not specifically to sponsor students. But we could do that.
I know that Hope and I have talked about it before, but it's, what does that number look like? You know, what's that magic number?
I know.
Also,
right.
Yeah.
I think that's important too. And are we looking at funding completely, or are we looking at, okay, so if someone applies, we will pay so much if they pay some? I mean, I think there's a lot of discussion to be had there that we don't need to have right now. But I do see that there are people who would be willing to sponsor a student or two, but not just give money to the conference, not knowing where it's going.
Okay. Well, it is 11:01, and I will get together with with Latifa, who's now I think joint handling the Strategic Partners Committee. So I will get with her and Nancy and Andrea, who I think are still sharing the chair. But anywho, I'll get with them and see if they have some time. I'll get a doodle out to both committees to see what that looks like. I'll get with Jim to just sort of figure that out. If we can get a meeting together before the retreat, then I think that will be great. But if not, then we'll, just have to sort of reserve some time to figure that out. But I'll get it out and see what we can get going here within the month of September. Any other concerns before we bid adieu to everybody?
My only question, Jim, is do we know, or could we know in advance what time our committee meetings will be? Since there's so many of us who can't come, sometimes people might have an hour they could go to a committee meeting if they knew
Sure.
where it was, but we might
Yeah.
not. I'm not speaking
Yeah,
for
yeah, yeah.
anyone. I mean, someone on vacation, maybe not, but if I were in
Yeah,
transit, I might be able to.
yeah, sure. Well, I mean, we will definitely, we'll definitely have that included as part of the final agenda. There are a few things that are still up in the air, like the service project and when that's going to happen will impact when those meetings happen. So once we can figure all that out, we can send out the agenda with the specific times for the committee meetings.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
And I know that this is a one-off question, and this may not even be the right place, but are we still considering having the business meeting for the board at the conference? Did that go over well? Is that something we may not be there as far as thought yet?
It did go over well, but that's a discussion for the commission to have at the retreat.
Okay, that was the reason why I brought it up to see, just to make sure that's something that's gonna happen that can be brought up as well. Okay, well, if there is nothing else, go ahead and stop this recording.